Hello everyone and welcome to Cece's Kitchen. What we're going to be doing today is meatloaf. And I know you may say, who don't know how to cook meatloaf? Well, I cook meatloaf and I love meatloaf. But guess what? I don't use the ground beef. We're using ground turkey. Yes, we're keeping even our meatloaf. So I just have our meatloaf healthy. So I have 1 pack of ground turkey. And I've had some persons that ate my meatloaf at my mom and they go, who made this meatloaf? And you know why? Because people anticipate that ground turkey meatloaf is not going to be as juicy and as greasy as the other ground beef meatloaf. But turkey ground beef is not, it does not have to be dry as some anticipate that it will be. So I'm just going to be making a small meatloaf. I have some of the seasoning already here. So what we're going to add to that is, and I just toasted me. I got it nice and toasty. I did 2 slices of whole wheat bread. And we're going to shred that into just like this. Okay? And I should have had this done in advance, but I did not. So you got to hear me shred toast. And since I have such a small bit, I may not put the other one in there because I don't think I'm going to need 2. I'm just going to use 1. Okay? So we've added the breadcrumbs. Now why don't I just come on over here? How about that? Yeah, that's better. And so I have some seasoning here. I'm going to add a little Italian. I'm going to add some Italian seasoning. Just a little dab. Okay, so we added some Italian seasoning. And we are going to do black pepper. So a little bit of black pepper there. And I'm going to add some onion powder. So add a little onion powder to it. And my seasoning that I always have a hard time pronouncing that my mom introduced me to. Some people say adobo, okay? Some say adobo, but I say adobo, okay? But I'm gonna add a little bit of that to it. And that's gonna be that seasoning. And I'm gonna add a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, Worcestershire. You know how that commercial Worcestershire. So we add some Worcestershire sauce to it. I also like to add red wine vinegar, a little taste of that to it. See, that's why my meatloaf don't be dry. I'm talking about Cece's Kitchen. I don't know what you're talking about. Where our cooking makes a difference. I just put a little bit of garlic powder in there. Some people say garlic powder goes in everything. Yes, it does. It just goes good with everything. It does. So I needed to get my ketchup. And mustard here. These 2 things. So we have some ketchup and some mustard that we want to add to it. And it probably takes about 3 tablespoons of ketchup, I would say. I'm like the old folks sometimes. And 2 tablespoons of mustard. And 2 tablespoons of Italian dressing. Yes, I do add that to my meatloaf. Gotta teach you guys how to cook. It's important. I enjoy this. And we're gonna stir this all together. And you make meatloaf, you have to use gloves. That's one of the reasons why I don't like making meatloaf, because I might get my hands all mushy, you know. That's just me. And since I making a small one, I'm just going to use 1 egg. Most times I like to have my eggs sitting out in advance so they'll be at room temperature. It just does better. So I'm going to, and I'm doing a no-no. You never should crack your eggs directly into your ingredients, okay? They teach us not to do that. Okay, so I went against the rule. Like we oftentimes does, right? So I've added all of my seasoning here. And one last seasoning. I always make my barbecue sauce. So this is CC's specialty. That's why when we grill, everything be so nice. So this is my barbecue sauce here that I've made up and have it in the refrigerator because we got some grilling we need to do for someone. And so I've made my sauce in advance, and I need to put, yes, goodness, and this sauce is to die for you. So I'm just going to add 1 tablespoon of my sauce to that. Okay, and that's my ingredients for my meatloaf. I'm gonna get some gloves here because you all know it's about to go down. But I don't care how you do it, your hands got to get involved. Okay, they got to get involved after all the stirring is over. Stirring is over, not staring. Stir, stir, stir. S-T-I-R. Isn't that right? S-T-I-R. Get my gloves here. Oh. I got my oven already preheating to 350. So because this is a little bit, it's not going to take that very long. I think about 45 minutes and it should be ready. But I'm going to set it for 45 minutes. So that's that. And the only other ingredients I do want to add, I have my peppers over here. Okay. So I do like to add some red bell peppers. I'm just going to grab, and that's up to you how much you want to put in there. You know, it's your food. You do what you do. But I'm adding a little bit of red, orange, and yellow bell peppers in here. And I got one that's not cut up very good. So let me just take that out. I had a whole bell pepper in there. Didn't get chopped up very well. Got some big ones. Look at that. And then I'm going to add my onions. What's a meatloaf without a little bit of onions? And I'm going to use some purple onions that I already have chopped up. So I'm just going to grab a little handful, which is about 2 tablespoons full. That's all that is. Now some people like to add cheese to theirs. That's up to you. I don't. Okay? I don't. I'm just gonna, I got it mixed up really good here. So I'm gonna put it in my loaf pan. I have a loaf pan, so maybe this will help me here. Yeah. And just to show you, see how nice it's looking. But this is small. I'm cooking for small, so guess what? If I'm cooking for just 2 people, I don't need for it to be a whole lot. Sometimes it's harder to cook a little bit than it is to cook a lot. So we got that all done. There it is. A simple meatloaf. That's going to taste really good. So we're going to put this in the oven. And there it is. Going into the oven at 350. And we'll bring you back when it is all finished. So hey, we've gotten the meatloaf out of the oven. Okay. So what do you do for your topping? I'm going to tell you what Cece's Kitchen does. So what I have in my blender, some tomatoes that I've already diced up there. So what we're going to add to that is some oregano and some onion powder. So we're going to dash that up a little bit. So I'm going to just add all this in my blender. And that's my oregano. So I add this. We add, let me get it, because I didn't have it out. My balsamic vinaigrette. So I add a little balsamic vinaigrette to this. So we're going to blend this all together. And that's going to be my sauce that's going to go on top. And we'll see how that's going to taste. Normally I add a little dab of sugar to it. Brown sugar I do. Just to give it a little sweetener. I either use brown sugar or I use a little honey. But I'm going to use a little brown sugar today. And I got to get my soy. We're using liquid aminos as opposed to soy sauce. Okay? So we got some liquid aminos that we're going to add to this. And I'm going to bring you back because I'm not going to let you hear all of that noise when I blend it. Okay, guys. So here's my sauce that I'm going to use on top of my meatloaf. And I did add a 1/4 cup of ketchup just to make it a little bit more redder. And I did do my teaspoon of brown sugar, just to let you know. And so we're going to pour that over this meatloaf so we can have some good old sauce. Now some people, sometimes I like to add Ragu sauce. But you know what? Today is today that I'm doing what's in my kitchen. I'm going to top it with some mozzarella cheese. Yes. I don't think this is open. It's not. So I'm going to top it with some mozzarella cheese here. Just a little bit. Let that finish in the oven for just about 20 minutes. So the sauce and everything can marinate together. So that's going to go back in the oven. And I'm going to bring you closer to it there, just to let you see what it's looking like. See that? So we're going to put it back in the oven. And then we'll let that cook for about 20 more minutes. And so that should, by that time, the cornbread should be finished. That's in the oven. And we're going to bring you back when it's all done. Okay, guys, here we are. That is the meatloaf. Look how nice and juicy it is with that mozzarella cheese on top. So what we're going to do, we're going to plate it up, and I'm going to show you just how juicy it is. So, oh guys, look at that meatloaf. I told you. See how juicy? I told you all. It's turkey. Father in the, ooh, look at that. How that fork just goes right through it. Father, in the name of Jesus, we thank you. See? Y'all want to taste it? Go ahead on. I'll let you take the first bite. Oh my God. I know. Yes, it is. Oh. This is so juicy and tender. And moist, not tender. It's just moist. I told you guys. And I'm going to add the rest. I'm going to get a little bit of rice today. Today is Sunday. And on Sundays, if I so choose to, I go ahead. That's my cheat day. So I'm going to show y'all the rest of my meal. I have a little bit of collard greens over here that I've cooked. And we also have some field peas. I'm going to put a little bit of field peas on the plate. And then, y'all, I made some homemade cornbread. Yes, we did. But I'm not going to do the bread since I do have rice. That's how we do this. So there is that meal. Look at there. So we have meatloaf, yellow rice, collard greens, and field peas with snaps. And with that being said, that lets you know turkey, ground turkey, makes good meatloaf if you know how to cook it. So enjoy your day, enjoy your evening, enjoy your tomorrow, and whatever the day is for you, always know that you have to encourage yourself and pat your own self on the back. If nobody else does it, that's okay. But just know, between you and God, you always have the victory, and you are always winning, even when it looked like you're behind the 8 ball. Be blessed.